tuner, if I get a signal in the tuner?
Yeah, you do.
Well, maybe there's a grounding problem.
My father did play a little guitar. He did like to write and read and sculpt and paint and play guitar, and he just gave me a guitar and said I should play the guitar, should try and play the guitar. And then, but the first electric guitar I played on was that one, which I have stripped of its bowels a couple of years ago, but I can't find them back, so I will have to find new intestines. I was interested in more complex music, so I tried to make more complex music. I tried to make some like classical style compositions, and then tried some fusion jazzy things, but I was never very devoted to practicing. When pedals started playing a large part was when I was confronted with like misfortune more in my life. So when there was like a profound emotional experience I wanted to convert into music. Yeah, it's just a general vibe which is created by the tempo, rhythm, this balance between the kind of keys I'm playing in, but to experience it in a way I experience it, you have to be in a similar position, you know. I mean, certain sounds mean different things to other people, so in that way it could be like a solipsistic affair that only for me this music has that function, but I believe that it's possible for people to feel it to experience it in similar ways. Bellenbach music was a different place than when I was writing the Leuven Sky Burial music, because I was in different parts of my life, and there is this like that there is more intensity to the Bellenbach music. There is also like more animal-like rawness that emerges sometimes in the Leuven music, but it's also just not only the different things the different places I was in my life, but also there were some unexplored territories. There always are some unexplored territories. I think I'll swap out the deep space for Black Lodge.
What's the difference between the two?
Well, this is two delays. So you have this unit and this unit, and they can feed into each other. With this one, you can feed the delayed signal, so the effect signal, back into the inputs of the A delay, so they can like feed into each other. And with this one, you feed the delay of A going into B, so you can make these weird patterns, and you can with an expression pedal you can make like time sweeps things with it. And this one is a delay of which the delayed sound goes into a reverb, and you can also like put other effects between the delay and the reverb. You can do cool stuff with it. Isn't this beautiful? Okay, so the current way goes is first I go into my compression sustainer, then into my volume pedal, because I want the solidity of a compression sustained signal in some cases. When I, for instance, when I do stuff like this. Okay, this is ugly. I was in the wrong tuning for this melody, but anyway, I want a strong signal to use to like swoop in with the volume pedal. And if I put the compression sustainer afterwards, it's just gonna pump up the volume, so it doesn't. It just ruins the effect. Then it has a this has a tuner out, so the tuner doesn't have to be in my chain and ruin my signal. And then I go into a splitter. My C channel is like my clean channel. Usually it first goes through the freeze sound retainer, which just captures the sound. That's what it does. And then I go through delay and reverb. Now it's just only the black lodge because it does everything I want. And then my B signal goes through a POG. So then after the POG through the governor, there's just a distortion, and then through this Q filter, which is hella nice, and then the third one goes through the line selector, so I can choose my normal distortion or one of these extreme units. Oh no, before the line selector it goes through the harmonist to the line selector, then into the fathom, which is an awesome reverb with a lot of functions. When you get to know your pedal one way or another, be it the technical or the emotional kind of way, you get to know the other part. I mean, if you're just emotionally working with it, but you're always like in an environment, people explain things to you, you get to understand, or just if you're being busy with it, you get to develop like a minor insight into the technical aspects. And also, if you're just working with it technically, you still hear and feel, so it's never like it's not two isolated paths in experience proper, that there is always both elements. You really, you need to know and feel the pedal. It's just getting to know it. It's like being in a relationship with the person, and you know that there are these subtle things that one says or does, and you know your partner is going to react in a certain way, and you have to fix this situation, but you can't really put your finger on it, or you can't describe it, but it's a Fingerspitzengefühl, you know? You need to know it inside out. pedals, and when you get to feel this tweaking, or just the way it reacts to your tweaking, it becomes an interaction between you and the pedal. You tweak a little, the pedal does something, it urges you to like solve some situations, or it gives you a new idea, it points towards a new direction, or a field of new directions, and you take one, or you try and take one, and you stumble, and then something goes wrong and you end up in another direction. But most of the time I kind of have an idea.
Is actually turned on, you see your voltage is going through the LED, so you see that your pedal is actually on, and then your output of your circuit board, so this one is connected to the output jack, and here as well the jack input here is connected to the input board, and then the effect is in use. They use it to amplify the alternating current, so basically your signal. These are getting amplified way over the level that they're supposed to. So what happens is they kind of distort the signal, and then you create this fuzz tone. The main germanium versus silicon, there are benefits and negative aspects of both. Some people say that the germanium sounds a bit more creamy. They were developed in the 60s, or actually 50s. They were used in the beginning of the 60s in the first pedals, and then the fuzz phase is quickly changed to silicon transistors because their main advantage is they are stable in different heat environments. So they get, these ones, they will produce a different tone in a different temperature, and this is not the case with silicon ones. Also, silicons tend to have a bit more gain.
It's mellow, it's raucous, it's tender, it's raw, it's the Maestro fuzz tone. You have to hear this completely different sound effect for the guitar to believe it. It opens a whole new world of music for you. Instantly, with fuzz tone, you can create guitar sounds never before heard. Yes, Maestro fuzz tone, an exciting new accessory which fits any guitar amplifier, creates unbelievable sounds never before played on the guitar. Organ-like tones, mellow woodwinds and whispering reeds, booming brass and bell-clear horns, plus many, many more. And, combined with reverberation, tremolo, and vibrato, it expands even further the range of startling effects. A built-in foot pedal switch attaches to your amplifier with a handy jack. Makes possible all these effects with the touch of a toe. Use it as often as you wish. It will not interfere with your regular guitar or bass when turned off. Has a volume control and an attack control. Completely transistorized, the Maestro fuzz tone has its own self-contained power supply. Now, let's listen to some of the unbelievable effects that you can create with the fuzz tone.
So,
I know.
please work. Now there's nothing.
Oh, we have the same as before. Where did you get the transistors from? Did I just give them to you?
Yes, you did.
Where can I get one of those?
I actually built something that exploits this kind of... I wanted to make like a bypass pedal, but it went wrong, so it went further wrong.
Nice.
Until it sounded alright.
A happy accident.
Yeah, the only thing is that it's proud sound like 18 volts AC at times, so
Shit.
watch out with your speakers.
Yeah.
something. Yeah, I spend endless hours of doing exactly this. Something goes wrong and you get puzzled and you're like, what could it be? Then you check every fucking thing until you hopefully find it. This is my place of escape. Whenever the world is too much, I retreat. Roll a joint or try to make some music or something or jam about. This is one of my own creations.
Nice.
So to say, this is me playing with myself. Kinda like it though. God. Don't ever put this online. Music is also what inspired me to do electronics. Because I wanted to make tube amps for guitar. I wanted to build amps to play on. That's what I wanted. I even had like this weird period where I first discovered that old radios have tubes in them. And I just like took the radio apart, took everything out of it that wasn't of use to me, so you know, like I left the transformer and the tube feed inside, and then all the rest I just randomized a tube amplifier, and 70% of the time they came out good. My first day at work, they gave me a tube amp. Was like, yeah, can you repair this? And I was like, okay, change the caps, easy. But I switched to polarity. So not more than 5 minutes later, the amp was on fire. My boss was not happy. For a first day, that was pretty shit. When I first came into Bellamore, I was like a total clean head, you know. I was like the clean sound of your bass, you don't use effects, it's all bullshit. But playing together with Seb without effects is just boring. It beats you up to the wall in a second with all these amazing things. So you know, I kind of had to go along with the whole trip expedition on pedals. So yeah, I only had one proper distortion pedal here, and it was a guitar pedal. So I started building around that pedal. But that's just something I had laying around. Honestly, how I found my sound, it was in my room. I put it together, and that's my sound. And, well, the rest is just from playing with that and listening to Seth and Sykes, obviously, and adjusting to the needs of the music to make it sound good. Where did I come up with that idea?
Yeah.
It came through Bellamore. I actually really had some problems with my... What the fuck am I gonna say? Yeah, with my distortion pedal. It didn't leave enough bass in the mix, so I wanted to make a pedal that just, you know, makes your drive, makes all your high tones and mid tones go through the drive, and then the bass goes through. So it doesn't go through the pedal, so you can control how much bass you have in the mix. But yeah, you'll hear it. It didn't really come out as it was supposed to.
because it isn't anywhere near clean. Which is what I was aiming for. Okay, so this is supposed to be the clean. This is where the clean really comes out, but I added some, this is the cutout. I added some strange ass filters. See, but it isn't really what I was trying to get to. You don't know until you happen to bump upon it. You can search for it and like spend whole days fucking tweaking the board around, but yeah, you can also just like let it evolve over time and, you know, play a whole gig on it the same way as it is, and then at the end be like, yeah, a bit more of that would have been nice, and then you look for something that does that. And well, yeah, since I have a bunch of crap laying around, it's pretty easy to find the right thing.
I started playing guitar when I was 16, and it was pretty much the only thing I did for a while. The only things that were available here, well, in Luxembourg, because I was living in Luxembourg, were like bus pedals and things like that. But bus pedals were actually more expensive than what I could afford. One day I saw a circuit for a fuzz pedal in a guitar magazine I used to read. I saw that that circuit in the magazine, and it was just a handful of parts. And since I had studied a little bit of electronics in school, I said, let's try this. And it worked. And so it was a very nice way to get pedals for not that that much money. I never really thought about doing it professionally at all. It all came when I built a tremolo called the Twin Peaks tremolo. But a lot of people got interested in. I had posted a video on YouTube, and people asked me if I would build them one, and I was like, what? Just go build yourself. And there was, you know, like a synchronized thing happening where I really grew very, very tired of my job, and there was more demand for pedals.
Yeah.
So I just decided, well, fuck it. I can't stand it anyway. Let's give it a try. I have no idea what else to do, so let's just do that. And I did, and it's been good so far. The pedals are digital. There's analog parts in it, in the way the parts that route your signal.
Yeah.
If you want, there's always some analog part in it, but the actual effect processing is digital. You can create a new sound without necessarily having to make a whole new circuit. So it's more, you make a new program. It opens up a lot of situations, like what if situations. And that's, you can just be sitting there and then, aha, what if? This did that and this did that, and then you start working on it, and sometimes it's crap and sometimes it's good, or sometimes you end up doing something else that is nice. That's a cool thing about digital effect making. I got the idea when I was listening to a CD I got from a drummer that works with Nils Klein, the guitarist. They have a project where it's just a guitar and a drum that interact with each other, like improvise. I thought, oh, that would be really nice if they had some device where, you know, the actual sound of one could like interact with the sound of the other, to not just the musicians that would react from what the other was playing, but if there was actually like a device where the sound itself would interact. Stretch weave is a technique of stretching fabric, you know, like stretchy fabric. So that's stretch woven, and they're called like that. And I named the pedal just after that. We have so you have both channels, and each channel has a control here. So this one affects this channel, this input, and this one affects this input. And depending on how you set the threshold of each channel, it will trigger the actual effect on the other channel. So for example, here I'm only going to affect what's happening to that channel, and in this mode it's a tape mode, so it's going to speed up, slow down, like with a tape, when I hit that threshold.
In a special box. Then you kind of have fast on rate though. How's the framing?
The fact that there's still so many distortion boxes made is simply because people tend to like to explore different nuances. Not only the people who buy them, but the people who build them. I mean, there's a lot of people that are genuinely constantly tweaking circuits and trying to bring out a little more out of it, or a different shade of a certain distortion. I think a lot of what I do comes from like a need to create randomness, and that's something that somehow got into my head years ago.
what's the main thing that you want to do in music, though? Like what is it that you actually have in mind? Side projects aside.
Well, it's very difficult to put into words. It's just assembling a collection of impressions and somewhere between emotions and experiences. Just a general vibe. Trying to convert that into texture and rhythm and sound, and try and find a balance between dissonance and harmony, which reflects this vibe I am experiencing. The main thing I want to look for in music, it's the world can be very saddening in many ways, and this sadness, nothing like music can transform this sadness into something celestial, you know, something intensely enjoyable without it leaving its sadness, you know. It's still this intense sadness, but it gets like, it turns into a heavenly sensation in music, in sad music.